in HHN 365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Duff, and as always, I'm here with my co-hosts Jess and Jonathan.
What's up?
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back. Jonathan, episode 2 already as a co-host.
Yeah, I am very excited for this one.
Yeah,
He still hasn't killed
good.
anybody.
No, Mike, watch your back.
Ooh, or is it me? Oh no. Or is it Duff?
No, absolutely not.
Take out the OGs.
Come on. So we have social media. That's Twitter and Instagram at HHN365. You can follow us on TikTok at HHN365pod. Check out our merch collection at HHN365.bigcartel.com. And leave us a voicemail to join us here on the show at 407-906-4134. And on today's show, surprisingly, we do have more rumors that we get to discuss a bit. And then we also had the opportunity to experience Universal's great movie Escape, which we'll kind of do a whole deep dive of beginning to end. And we had a great time. So, I mean, you don't know if we had a good time. That's a mystery. Yeah. News and rumors. Let's start with the easier ones. So, breaking the fourth wall here, we're recording basically a week before this gets released. So sorry about that because we'll be out of town.
I'm not sorry about that.
No, I'm not sorry about that. I'll be in the middle of the ocean when this releases, and yes. I'm excited. So tomorrow, which is the Wednesday in the previous week now, the Evil Dead Rise full trailer is releasing. However, we did see a snippet today, and it looked good.
Yeah.
I got hooked from that one little clip.
Yeah. I mean, all it took for me was Bruce Campbell in the beginning that it really had nothing to do with the movie itself. But once they, actually started showing that very tiny clip of the movie, the concept of it, if it, goes that way, seemed absolutely terrifying of the teaser, literally showing just kids watching out for their mother who's possessed and gonna want to kill them. That is scary right there.
Yeah. So unless the trailer that you have now probably seen, if you're listening, is way different and not as good as that, we're very excited for the film, first of all. But of course, we bring this up because it was rumored, and it was also true, that Evil Dead Rise was supposed to be at HHN both coasts last year, and because the movie was pushed back to this year, the house was also scrapped and maybe pushed back to this year. That's to be seen, of course, but I'd say that makes it an HHN rumor of some sort.
Yeah, I think it does. I think last episode, Synergy here, I did predict Evil Dead Rise would rise from the grave and come back this year, and looking, obviously trailers can be deceiving, but if this movie becomes, like a massive hit and they already, have the ability to acquire it, I would see no reason HHN wouldn't want to take a go at it unless they, had other properties in mind, depending how the movie does, of course. But it obviously, the movie plot worked well enough for an HHN house that they, designed the thing. So I think it could work.
What if I told you, 5-10 years ago that HHN 32 could be headlined by Chucky and Evil Dead in 2023? Would you believe that?
I wouldn't want to say I thought it was impossible, but I wouldn't have been excited.
Right. I would have looked at you and been like, okay, this is where we've gone.
Okay, great.
And I love the Evil Dead franchise. I loved the Ash vs. Evil Dead house. And I know that's a hot take.
Okay, I didn't.
I don't care. I love me some Ashy Slashy.
I know. I do too.
And I kind of hope it comes back. After the snippet made me kind of bummed that we lost the house last year and got the H's for Hell block.
Now, here's the question though. It looks like, and I know the reboot went this way as well, it looks like it's going to be a pretty serious movie. They could obviously have a lot of, some, jokes in there in some points, but it looks like the basic premise is going to be pretty dark.
Hmm.
I know, Jess,
Yeah.
you like the Ash versus Evil Dead one that was a lot goofier. Do you think that tone change, if it is an actual tone change, like is gonna make that the prospect of the house more exciting for you or less exciting?
I would be more excited. I think the general public would be confused, especially if they go in just thinking it's like an Ash house. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like the more lighter
Hmm.
side of things with Evil Dead. But I love when a house scares the shit out of me. I'll say I don't like it in the moment, but I would love I love houses that are kind of dark and morbid, which is why I'm kind of bummed I didn't like Hill House as much as everybody. So I would love to see kind of a darker side of Evil Dead, which the movie looks like it's going to be. So
Yeah, I think a lot of people, speaking towards specifically the Evil Dead side of things, not the HHN side, seeing that they wanted to go back to like the Evil Dead sequels or Ash vs
yeah,
Evil Dead style. I'm excited this is going more towards the reboot or remake. I don't. Which one is it technically? It's a reboot, right?
I think it's a reboot.
Okay, yeah. Um, I prefer that they're going that route again. One, I think that's one of the best reboot remakes of any horror movies we've had in ever. It's up there. Um, and yeah, for the HHN side of things, I think it works better. That's I love a nice dark comedy house. I do, but I'm gonna take that looking Evil Dead over like Evil Dead 3 all day as an
oh
HHN
yeah,
house.
Especially since we already know Chucky's in the lineup,
hmm
and that's gonna be, it could be, I don't know how much they want to lean on comedy, but it's definitely gonna have an emphasis on comedy in there.
I should hope.
So it helps with the tone of, just how the event, if it comes, how the event will be laid out, instead of having two IPs that are heavily comedy oriented. It will sort of even things out a bit.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then also, I feel like everybody, when you think Evil Dead, you think comedy, horror, but the premise of it is very dark. Like the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, it's made of flesh and blood. So
Mhm.
Oh
like
yeah.
I feel like this kind of a darker story, hopefully it, really does go that way. And this isn't like just kind of, like, hey, we faked you out and here's the whole trailer tomorrow and it's funny as shit, which cool. I'm not gonna be mad at that either. But I feel like this story needs to go darker to revive it. So
Yeah.
we shall
I'd,
see.
I'd say I feel very confident based off the clip we saw that it is not going to be comedic.
Right.
I'm sure it's Evil Dead. It'll have its moments, of course, but it is going to focus on being dark and scary as hell.
We need that. We need more of that at
Yes,
HHN.
please.
Completely agree. Have especially a story that looks like it's going to be as dark as this one, just in premise, almost like a La Llorona, type thing of the mother killing the
Hmm.
kids.
Yeah.
It could, I don't know what the eventual end of this movie will be, but I would assume not everyone's going to make it out alive. So
Yeah.
No.
Listen, this sounds bad when I say it out loud, I guess, but I love when a movie has the balls to kill children.
Yeah.
yeah, because that's a you don't expect movies to. They usually try to pull back on that. So when they eventually, if they do, it's like, oh my god, this movie's going for it.
Mhm. But don't kill
Yeah.
pets. That's where I draw the line.
Well,
Children, fine. Pets, no, absolutely not.
so we can have the babies in the crib and what was it, Hive, but we can't have
Have Helix,
Helix.
correct. Yes, that's
All right.
correct.
I mean, I agree. I agree. Fuck them kids. Let's go.
Moving on. Going back to another legacy rumor. We kind of harped on one last week, whereas he basically said Scream isn't coming to the event. He fully doubled down and said those words in a sentence, fully that Scream, he's been told Scream is not coming, but also added, which is not a surprise to any of us, that he heard Stranger Things will not be happening, so we can stop talking about those basically.
And I predicted no Netflix at HHN 32. So,
There we go. I mean, watch them pull a Wednesday. They're like, Wednesday's coming, actually.
well, her rights are all tied up now too, because apparently Netflix
Oh,
is not getting season two.
did you see?
Ooh, that's a
Did you see the latest report on that though?
No, I didn't.
Apparently, this it will not affect it as this was signed well before the rights. So it's already in the contract
Ah.
that Netflix does have those rights.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm that.
Uh, so
We'll see.
there could be delays in like announcing season two because there could be still certain legalities to work around, but
Mhm.
not that it's just like, okay, you don't have it now.
Okay. I don't think Wednesday needs a house at HHN.
No, no, it
And that's
doesn't.
coming from someone who's a huge Burton, obviously, fan and, Adam's Family fan. We don't need her at the event. I'm sorry.
Well, we could always get the Great British Bake Off, but
Wow. That would be terrifying.
it's terrifying.
It would smell great.
And spending. And then we have one more rumor we want to talk about. This one's potentially a very big one, more for Universal than HHN specifically. But it was reported in November by Coaster Kings that Universal might be interested in buying back Port Aventura in Spain. As you may know, that's a park that they opened and owned through 2004. Um, they also had an HHN event, which wasn't actually called HHN. I think they just called it Halloween, basically. Uh, but
Doo-doo-doo.
you may know, if you know anything about this, the caretaker was there. In 2003, he was their icon and was a actual walk around character of the event. Fun fact: he also was at the event after Universal got rid of
Yeah, he
him
was.
illegally. So, yeah. But
Daddy Kane, baby.
we're talking about Universal buying, potentially rumored, buying back a park where they had an HHN style event. So, potentially down the road, HHN Spain. Just saying.
Ooh, HHN España.
Because
That
I
would
love it.
be.
Beijing,
Yep.
we know it's not going to happen because that's culturally not going to happen there.
Hmm.
Spain, they've done it, and apparently Halloween as a holiday has only grown since then as well. So,
Come on, Spain.
It would be cool. I honestly have not heard about this sort of HHN type event until now. So I'm going to have to brush
oh,
up on my HHN history and
Oh,
look into
uh,
it.
no.
good luck finding a lot on it.
There's
Oh.
not.
Most you're going to find is pictures of like the brochures and stuff. Um, I wish there was more info. There's really not too much. It's a lot of you're gonna have to go by hearing from people who were
Didn't
lucky enough to experience it.
doesn't oh my god, what's Park Warner in Madrid do houses? They had Freddie this past
Uh,
year.
yeah, yeah. So
So it's
there's
definitely
there's a
grown.
there's a couple. I believe there's actually like two or three parks now in Spain who do
Oh,
like haunt events in some capacity.
oh, come on, Universal. You gotta do it.
So if I mean, I would have almost no doubt that if they end up purchasing Port Aventura and actually owning and operating it fully, of course, we don't know if that's going to happen or if it would be them owning or if it would be them operating, whatever the situation could be. If they own and operate, though, I would say it's almost a guarantee that they bring HHN there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a safe bet.
It's already a park who does an annual Halloween thing,
There's a market there.
so bring your brand. Boom,
And
done.
they could just, I mean, they could even do it the cheap way and just share the marketing from Hollywood and Orlando. Not the marketing, but the merchandise, excuse me.
Hmm.
Like design, just send them over there for the
I
first
mean,
couple of years.
yeah, it's possible. And they could also like they could literally just dig into the catalog of HHN shit that they never had because they didn't exist.
Yeah.
So like they missed 20 years basically of HHN since Universal lost them. Except the several years caretaker was still there illegally.
So
Um,
if the
so
caretaker
maybe dig
brings,
into that.
so the caretaker is going to bring HHM back to that park and we'll be there for the inaugural year, is what I'm hearing.
I don't if they do an
Because caretaker,
HHN if they do an HHN at Port Aventura, we will be there opening night no matter
yeah,
what. No matter
yeah,
what, I will be
yeah.
there. One,
Jonathan, we're throwing you in our suitcase. Come on.
it's not far outside of Barcelona, and that's a beautiful city. I'd love to go back.
I've never been. I love Cheetah Girls.
So, I'll take any excuse to go out there anyways. A
it would
brand
take
new HHN,
nothing
yeah, I'm good.
to get us out
I'll
there.
be there.
And then we could go to Park Warner. They have
Yeah.
Beetlejuice
That's
there.
true. Yeah,
They do got Beetlejuice.
they do. So, yeah, we thought that rumor would be nice to bring up because potential HHN implications, and also that'd be obviously huge implications for Universal as a whole, anyways. So hope it happens. To be honest, that'd be great. That'd be great. Universal needs a real European presence.
Yeah. We all thought we were going to get HHN at Epic. We're actually getting HHN over in Spain.
Did we think we were getting HHN and Epic though?
No, I'm just
I hope not.
bullshitting.
One thing I found in that article, one, they had actually, this past year, 2022, they had actually trademarked Universal Studios, and I believe it was Hollywoodland Universal Studios in Spain, specifically for theme parks. So that kind of lends some credence to it, maybe.
Mhm.
Also, I learned from that they trademarked. I don't remember the name now, and I didn't have prepared because I didn't remember I want to talk about it. But something specifically for Paris.
Ooh.
Something with Paris in the name. They trademarked that as well. So just interesting to toss that out there.
Oh,
Who knows? It could be for merchandise or something that has nothing to do. Obviously, I wouldn't expect a park in Paris. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
the park's going right under the Eiffel Tower. It's gonna
Maybe
be
they're
all
just buying,
minions.
they're buying the Eiffel Tower.
The minions go to Paris.
Oh God, no.
Ugh.
They're everywhere.
They
Watch them
turn it into
climbing the Eiffel Tower.
they
Oh
turn it into
God.
the shape of a banana. Like they made
Oh
Cinderella
yeah.
Castle a cake. They just make
Yeah.
the Eiffel Tower a banana.
Wow.
We all thought they're doing HHN to be nice to the fans and create a just a not profitable event for them, but really it's just to get enough money to have the minions control the world.
Correct. Yes.
Ah,
That's what else would it be?
we got them. We know their secret.
That's it for news and rumors, though. That's actually some pretty exciting stuff for us. Literally having recorded yesterday.
Yeah, that's the most
So
we've gotten back to back.
if there's been more since, I'm sorry we missed it. We'll get you in a couple weeks, or 1 week from when you hear this. I'm
Yeah.
confused. Time's a relative concept that doesn't matter. Main segment. So me and Jess went to Universal's Great Movie Escape, where we did the Jurassic World experience, and I'd say we had a pretty great time.
I loved it.
And it was your first escape room that was not the
Sir
short format
Henry's.
ones at Sir Henry's.
Yes.
So like the first full escape room experience you had, which it was very different from your
Okay.
average escape room. I got to say that, very different.
Okay.
But before we get into that, let's start with the whole experience. One, it's a little pricey.
Yes.
Um,
And it's
so
popular right now.
it is very popular. So if you have an annual pass, you can get a discount. I believe it's 15%. You have to do that either at the location itself and book the tickets there, or you can call on the phone as well, and then you can apply that 15% discount. But if you're buying online, you cannot apply that discount. So what we did is we walked up day of at like noon and got a time for 10:15 p.m. to return.
Yup.
So don't expect availability day of. It's possible you might get in later. It's possible you might get in 2 days later. Good luck.
And this was not a weekend. I mean, it was Monday after New Year's, so I think a lot of people were off and the tourists were still here. But I was not expecting a 10-hour wait for the escape room. I don't know why, but and then also if you do it before 6 p.m., you get a different price. It's a little cheaper.
Yeah, so I think it's basically $10 cheaper. And I think there's a few time slots that tend to be more expensive
Mhm.
and based off demand potentially. But typically, I think the rule is $10 cheaper if you do it before 6, and then it'll be the full price after 6. And I think the highest it can go is like $65,
Jesus.
and the cheapest it gets is 50 or 45 before discounts.
And that's for a public experience. So it can be up to 6 people
Yes,
for
there can be
public.
up to 6 people in a public room, and then you could get a private room, which is the price of 6 people, but you can bring 8 people into that.
Right. And, we
Uh,
got lucky. We didn't have anybody with us because
yeah,
there were 4 of us. So,
I will say, before I forget to mention it, I don't know if that's a good experience for 8 people. That might be too many. I feel like a lot of people, specifically Jurassic World one, of course, that's the one we did. Um,
Yeah.
it might feel like you're standing around a lot. I think 4 people was kind of the perfect number for that room.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Everybody had something to do, even if it wasn't like
Mm.
super involved, but
Well,
like
I
we'll
think
get
yeah, there was even times though that we only had something to do because we were rotating. You know,
right.
so like
Definitely.
if you had 8 people, there were definitely times where even if you were rotating, not all 8 people were going to do something in some of those rooms.
Well, maybe that's good if you like have people who aren't like super into it and just kind of want to be there.
I mean, if you want to pay $65 just to
Right.
be there, that's fine.
Hey, there might be
Now,
like the one party pooper.
from an outsider perspective, I have heard that they do change the games according to how many people are in your party.
Um,
Like,
Oh.
yes.
so
So
you can say you can have six,
mhm.
and they can change the games where maybe it's easier for more people to be involved. I don't know how the games work. I haven't I
So
haven't actually been in the experience, but that's what I've heard. They're more adjustable.
one things about these games compared to your average escape room uh, is that they're more technical and less physical. So a lot of
Yeah.
computer-based stuff, a lot of screen-based stuff. So in a
Not
regular
so
escape
much
room, everyone could
moving
go
things.
around and open drawers and shit
Yeah.
like that. That basically was not existent at all. There's a
Mhm.
couple instances where you move stuff physically, but it was like a very specific, obvious thing that you were going to move. So even when they alter the game, they will alter it for A, how many people, and B, your skill level. So basically, if you show you're going through stuff fast, they will make it harder and can even toss on additional challenges. However, there are only so many physical spaces to do things.
Yeah.
So, like,
Got
let's say
it.
in one room, there's 3 screens.
Yeah.
If you have 8 people and only have to complete
Three things.
2 challenges on 3 screens, that's 2 people who never got to touch anything.
Yeah. We'll get to that. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
whole experience first.
Mhm.
This is where the groove was on City Walk.
Yes. Yeah. And it
They
looks
they
like it. Like they
they
put a nice
yeah.
skin over it. It looks nice. The
Yep.
layout is definitely the groove.
The stage is
That's
still there.
actually that's actually the one thing I got to experience because I just walked in there one day. I didn't have a ticket to do any of the experiences, but I was able to see the lobby.
Mhm.
And yeah, I do agree. It's very classy. It's nice. I think that it I didn't do the experience, but I feel like it gets you ready for the experience. It puts you in a nice, sort of calming environment, getting you prepared for
Mhm.
the escape
Mhm.
room you're about to enter.
Yeah, it's a very like Hollywood 30s, 40s Art Deco thing going
Mhm.
on. It looks nice. The blues, the golds. You
Yeah.
know the style. Universal uses it quite a bit themselves.
Yep. They have trivia playing on a screen up on the stage, just Universal movie trivia.
Hmm.
Um, that I was totally looking at and not paying attention when we were buying our tickets.
Yeah, sure.
um, but there's costumes out front. I don't think they're screen used, but you walk in, there's a
Yeah.
Doc Brown costume, the dinosaur movie stuff. Uh,
You can admit your fault here if you'd like.
my fault.
Your
What
fault.
fault?
You know what the
What's my?
fault is.
I've never seen. This is not surprising, especially if people listen to the Scream Queens. This is the whole point of
I
that
don't care. It's a
show.
fault.
I I'm notorious for not seeing things. I've never seen a single Jurassic Park movie in my life.
So, not just Jurassic World, but you haven't
Never.
seen Jurassic Park.
I've seen like bits of it. I know it's about dinosaurs,
That is true. It is about dinosaurs.
but at this point, I do it just to make Duff upset because I know
Yeah,
it's one
it's
of his
true.
favorite properties.
But it's also good to point out we went in with someone who's never experienced it, and you, to be honest, went in thinking like I'm have no attachment, so
Yeah,
it's going to take a lot to impress me, story
I loved
wise.
it. I loved it.
Hmm.
Storyline, all of it. It was.
Yeah.
I really loved it, and yeah, I have no attachment to this property or dinosaurs in general. I wasn't a dinosaur kid, but I loved it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
whole experience like it is and I was joking because like going when we walked in to like buy the tickets I was like, oh, they gave it the HHN treatment, they just put some half walls up because in the front like the entrance to each, because you walk in and the Back to the Future is on the bottom floor and Jurassic is on the top. So you enter into one of those. It looks like an HHN like half wall in a house. But it's like fully themed with doors and everything. But no, each room is fully themed with a ceiling, everything. It's not like, ha ha ha, this is a temporary thing. Like, they put work into these
Mhm.
and it shows.
But also, there's more experience we got. We'll get to them. We'll get to the room. I
Sorry,
promise.
I'm excited.
It's okay. So obviously, like we said, 10 hours later, we came back. There is merch you can buy as
The
well,
next day.
shirts, hats. It's actually kind of cool logo they have too that combines
Yeah.
the two properties and the actual Great Movie Escape logo. So plenty of merch for you to buy: shirt, hat, cup, that kind of shit. They have two bars, one downstairs, one upstairs. The one upstairs seemed to be more chill throughout the time we were there. We did show up about an hour 15 before our time, so we had quite a bit of time to explore and have drinks. Um, and the drinks themselves, I will say, they made a very nice specified cocktail list to go with these properties.
Yeah.
Like the one drink I had, or the first drink I had, was Wake Up Juice, which, if you've seen Back to the Future, is a big scene in Back to the Future 3. And they kind of nail like what they're going for, but it tastes good too, and wasn't just the best
Ooh.
like in the film.
Yeah, I think because I had the Raptor bag. I had two of them. They were good. It was just a spicy margarita. I think a spicy mango margarita, but it was very good. And you could bring the drinks into the escape room.
Yep.
They gave you little sippy cups.
Although I will say, apparently that is like a very teeter totter line. They recommend you
Um,
do not on the video, but they only recommend you do not. But at the bar, they gave us sippy cups and said you can.
yeah.
So like you technically can, but they also kind of say don't. But we did.
Do you
Yeah.
think holding, like having the cups and having to hold them, like was a little difficult? Considering
Uh,
you had to touch a bunch of screens and
I
whatever.
I would recommend not bringing in a drink for that
Mhm.
reason. Yes.
Well, then you're also
Got
stuck
it.
with the cup the entire time. Like you had yours the entire
Mhm.
experience
And it was
because,
empty the whole
yeah,
experience basically. So I was just carrying it around
yeah,
How long is the experience again? Is it like a 90-minute thing or like an
an
hour?
hour.
an hour, but
Hmm.
we
You
finished
can do it quicker.
a little quicker. I think I don't know if we did a full
Yeah,
hour.
they say basically it can go down to like 45 if you can do it that
Okay.
quick. But
Yeah.
again, it's something it will adjust. So if you're doing stuff really fast, it'll give you more challenges and harder challenges. So basically, the escape room itself is not one that you can't escape, but they
Mm,
give you a score at the end.
Ooh, they give you a score to,
yeah.
like, can you tell where you got the points from, or is it just like a
No, no.
No. I
You
mean,
just
like
kind of get
you,
a level. It's a level more. Yeah, not a
yeah,
score.
there.
It's a level. So for Jurassic specifically, it was up to 20.
Mm,
And there's kind of four different tiers that would land you on. We were the highest tier. Hello, we'll get to
we
that
were.
later.
And then I think Back to the Future was 15.
Up to 15.
So, and they said Back to the Future was the harder one, based on like the general public. So we got to go back and do that one.
Mm.
But yeah, so we got the drinks at the bar. There's also upstairs, there's like a patio lounge, like one of the little city walk balconies. We sat out there for like 30 minutes, had our drinks. It was nice.
Yeah, it's a nice place to hang out. Drinks were good.
Yeah.
No complaints about that experience. But yeah, when your time comes, you just kind of watch like a prep video. You know the rules
Mm-hmm.
basically. It's only a couple minutes long. Then you go up to your room and it's time to go. You know they give you a few more rules, of course, and blah blah blah. And then you get into the story, like your average escape room. You hop in and there's kind of a video describing why you're there, what the task is to start. Things change, of course, as is. Um, but yeah, I don't because this was your first time doing escape room at all. So like, I know you were kind of looking around a little confused at the
Yeah.
place we were in to start.
Well, it was okay. So we should say if we're not gonna like spoil any of the puzzles or anything like that
Mhm.
because we don't fucking remember the answers, but we're gonna talk about the rooms and kind of what happens. So if you don't
Yeah,
want anything spoiled, maybe skip to the end, or thank you so much for listening to the first 30 minutes of this episode. But yeah, so we're gonna talk. So we walk in and it's like I don't know, a fucking tunnel. I don't know Jurassic Park. It's a tunnel and there's the dinosaur on the screen. And I'm like, okay. They're like, well, you're in the lab, and I'm like, no, we're in a tunnel. So I'm looking at Duff and I'm like, where's the lab? The door opened eventually, but they're like, hey, I don't know, Duff, what are we, geneticists or something like that?
Yeah.
Training.
Yep.
Yep. And let's go get that dino.
Not quite, but
yeah, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And then we get in the first room and I'm just like, okay, I know you got to do things in an escape room. What the fuck do I need to do? I went into like, let's go mode.
Yeah, so the first room itself was theming wise, there wasn't too much to it. Like, it looked good, it, like, what they wanted you to see, you were there. It immersed you in that. But there wasn't in this first room. Yeah, if you're not talking about the puzzle itself, there's not much to talk about. Is one way to put it.
Yeah.
I do have to ask from an outsider: does this story take place like in the first movie, or around that timeline?
We can, this is taking place in 2015 during the events of Jurassic World. So basically you start off when things are okay, and of course things are not okay later in the experience.
That is really cool. That's like that is a very good way to like put you right inside the film, is like the action's like about to start.
And I was very impressed how much they did.
Okay.
There were moments where people in the group were definitely a bit spooked.
Oh, I was terrified.
I know a lot of the people, or like I know a couple of people who work on HHN houses, like were heads of this project or were part of this project.
It shows.
So it shows.
And in the best way possible. Theming wise, I feel like they really like immediately from the get-go, even though I made fun of, it's just a tunnel, you are immersed in this setting. Sound, visual, everything.
That is really exciting. Like, I cannot wait to hear more about what's in these next rooms.
So basically, the kind of plot goes along as I don't know if it's a trainer, but kind of the person leading you through everything
Riley
is going to appear. Riley, it's going to appear in every room.
Yeah.
So basically, on screen, it's not an actor. There's no physical actors in this. It's all based on the screen.
I didn't even think about the possibility of someone jumping out in one of those rooms.
Well, that would have fucked you up then.
I probably would have died right then and there.
But I guess we can kind of move on to the next room. As I said, that first room where you have challenges, it's really just about the puzzles more than anything you're looking at or experiencing. The next one, however, the puzzles are based around dealing with Bravo, the raptor, who you are in there. Yeah, in one of like the cages, like not a full paddock, but an actual like the cages that they slide out in and are in. So the challenges are based around you dealing with Bravo, who is actually pretty impressively on a screen, like in the cage, bashing into it and making noise and trying to scare you.
It was scary. Like
there were a few moments where they try to make it a jump scare too.
Ooh,
I was
really cool.
And that room, I feel like, so I would say that our group, we got pretty big brains together sometimes. The four of us worked really well together. It was us, Eugene, and Daniel, my best friend. This room, I feel like, is the one that took us a minute to get out of all of them. And then maybe the one later.
There's one more.
I agree that
several
one.
Rooms later that took the longest.
This one for me, I was like, "What the fuck are we doing wrong?" Because
I think it was a case of also we went into the first room, which was very easy to be fair, I think, and then we went into we got to figure something out now.
Yeah, we were like,
as obvious it just was. Got it.
And then the raptors banging, and you're just like, ah, it's a lot.
Now here's a question. I've heard that sometimes if you get the puzzle right, it could just keep extending. Yes. Like keep adding on to the puzzle, even if you got it right. Was this a case of that, or was it just a case of you didn't know how to do the first puzzle?
It was figuring out the first part.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
I feel like this is a room where once you complete the challenge, there's not too much. They're not adding anything. It's ending
Mhm.
there. Like this one had a
Yeah.
very clear cut challenge.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I'm excited that they. I mean, like from the second room, have a dinosaur. Like even if it's just the
Yeah.
screen, like from an outsider perspective, I was expecting like if they were gonna have any dinosaurs, it was gonna be near like the end of the experience rather than like basically the beginning.
Well, Jonathan, it gets even more from right here.
Oh my god.
Because as
I,
soon as you finish that challenge, things start to go wrong.
wait, before we move on, I will say,
Mhm.
Jonathan, back to what you said about where like they can add more on to extend it. I will say I feel like in the first room we got an extra puzzle because we did it so quickly.
Yeah.
So
So
how was that laid out? Like how did you
It's
know
just
how
another thing on there because I felt
mhm,
like we did it very like when I tell you that first room, we did it very quickly. Like
Mhm.
we moved very quickly. And what it was, they could just add another one on and the last one was much harder than the first 2 or 3 we did.
mhm,
Same
Ooh.
concept, but that one maybe not much harder, but it added on an extra element that we had to stop and think about
mhm.
further.
You know,
So,
I am interested when you were signing up and you know, your party or whatever, did they ask you for like a difficulty level?
no.
No,
Okay, so
it bases it off how fast you are doing challenges, basically, and how
Mhm.
accurately you're completing them.
It's like a smart
okay.
escape room.
So they just after seeing them you do the first puzzle so fast, like, okay, we're gonna give you some harder ones now.
Yeah, and I
Basically.
know they said people are watching because at any point you could throw up an X and so they would come in and they said they would only take out people who wanted to leave ever. It wouldn't affect anybody else. But if you want to leave at any point, there are people watching you on camera.
Mhm.
That's very good. That's awesome.
So I don't know if they're adjusting it or if the game is just built that like, oh hey, they're going kind of quickly, let's add more.
Got
And
it.
I think in the next room, that's where a lot of people could throw up X's, mainly some children. Which I would say,
Yeah.
if you have children, I don't know. I'd recommend this experience. Maybe do Back to the Future. I'd
Yeah,
assume
but they
less
also
scares.
I don't know about scare, but didn't they say the Back to the Future one is harder and it's
Yeah,
foggier?
it's harder and foggier, but I just feel I don't think there's gonna be like
Oh
scares like
no.
that. Like so, here, let's move on in the story. So basically, at
Mhm.
this point is when shit starts to go wrong on the island. The raptor gets out, and basically you go into the next room, and it's tight and it's dark,
Mhm.
and it has first of all the sound design was phenomenal. Like the raptor is now on top of you, like walking on the ceiling
Yeah, like stalking
Holy
you
is
crap.
moving
around the
all
room.
over, and is just always in your ear. You hear his claw like clacking
So
against
scary.
it, and yeah,
You see a
Is
shadow of
it's
him at the
intense.
door at one
Yeah,
point.
is this just them, you know, in an escape room space trying to recreate or like the feelings of the scene from the first movie with the
um,
kids?
this part kind of felt like the kitchen scene. Yes,
Ooh, that
yeah,
is so cool.
I know
yes.
what that means because I've seen Jurassic Park.
And a scene that is much more intense than what we experienced.
Oh, I bet, but I was still looking at you guys like, what the fuck is
Oh yeah,
going on?
it was very impressive how well they portrayed him, like where
Yeah,
the raptor was and the actual danger you were in, quote unquote.
yeah.
That is really cool. Just this, I mean, you're only on room 3, and I'm already like, yeah, I gotta do this
I
experience.
want to do it again. That's how much I liked it.
Yeah,
Like, I want to give myself
Really?
a couple months or whatever, go with new people, and like I'll kind of stand back and,
it was
help.
very
But I want to do it again.
good. This next room though that you were in, once the challenges start, um, it's I don't think we can really explain much because it's all part of the challenge.
Is this the one where we
Um,
had to move things?
yes, so
Okay,
you get to,
we killed
yeah,
this
yeah.
one.
That was fun. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of moving parts to it.
Yeah,
Um,
I really like that. And there
mhm,
were like I again without spoiling it, there was an element of it where you had to. This is like the room where you had to move things around, but you were also doing other things. And if you didn't move the things, the screens would blur. Like the not even a screen, it was like a window to
Mm,
what you needed to see. So like it was just so immersive, like not something I was expecting like technology wise or anything. Like it just was so good. I'm really shocked at how
mm,
good this was. I know I keep saying that, but
yeah. I wish we could say more about this room, but again, it's all part of the actual challenges
it
and
was one of my
getting
favorite
through it.
rooms
So,
for sure.
yeah. But basically, once you finish that room again, that's when things fully start, like powers out,
Mhm.
and kind of override you into the next room, where it's basically about getting power back on. And again, this is one of those rooms where it's all about the challenges again. So you're in like an kind of like tunnel area, just
Mhm.
about power. Basically, that's it.
And
So
yeah, yeah, and like apparently that room apparently can get very dark. We did not allow it to, but it get apparently gets really dark, and they warn you in that room before it starts. And I don't like the dark, but I can see how that could be really scary and where people could throw up X's in that
mhm,
room.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah,
So,
Like once again, I know this is a Jurassic World experience, but all these rooms that like you're saying, like especially the last two, it's like this feels like a Jurassic Park experience with like
mhm.
a Jurassic World flair to it.
yeah. I definitely had that feeling until there's a few rooms where it's very much Jurassic World. But I feel like what we've gone through so far and some others that we'll experience later are very Jurassic Park.
Mm.
That that's very good news. That is I like the Jurassic Park movie or the first one a lot, so hearing that it's heavily influenced this escape room is really exciting.
And I will say this room, well, again, it's based mainly off what you have to do. The sound design and the lighting
Mhm.
really hits home the imminent danger you're in and why you need to complete this task and kind of feel rushed to do it. It's not just like I have to do it because it's part of the escape room. It's kind of like, oh God, if I don't do it, what happens?
Yeah. And
We're
this
gonna
room I feel
die.
like also was one of the rooms where more people is better.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah, yeah, I could see that in this room.
there were only four of us, and there was something that like Eugene did the entire time to keep the lights on, which was great. But that's all he got to do. But without him, it would have been pitch black in there, and like the three of us were working on the other things we had to do. So like I could see if it was a smaller group or maybe like a private group of like three, that room's fucking hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
So yeah, very involved. I again loved it.
So this seems more than just an escape room.
E-
Like this
e-
this from, this really seems like it's like an escape room slash themed experience.
It is.
Hmm.
It's very much more themed experience than it is escape room. Obviously, it's still challenges that you have to complete, so it has that aspect for sure. But the things they build around it are some of the things are insane, which we'll get to
I'm
some soon.
curious. Not like because I know you can't fail a room, but I'm curious to see what happens if you don't pass a room. Like, is the story
Uh,
any different?
I think it because if you notice, every time you finish, there's kind of like a reason you go into the next room. So I think they
Right.
just cut to it, like
Okay.
oh this just happened, gotta go, kind of thing.
That's fair. I will say, with how themed this was, and I know we talked about it last night, I can totally see them doing like an HHN experience or something
Hmm.
because it feels like it's easy enough to build because they built this relatively quickly, right?
Yeah,
So, like, if it's easy to build, excuse me, I'm dying. um, just change it into something else in like 8 months.
hmm
Who's counting?
I know that they have, or at least it's rumored. I think it was from Alicia Stella on the forums, that there is a third space
hmm
open. There's the third empty, space for the escape rooms. So if they ever wanted to put something in there, slash maybe make that the limited time experience escape room, I wonder if they could just put it in there instead of doing anything to the current ones. Because I would assume from what you're saying that these current ones have like a lot of money put into them, and they're probably going to want to uh, keep them there for a while.
yeah, they are very well themed. I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to swap out the current ones.
No, I didn't know there was a third space though. That I feel like is very interesting. So I don't know. I feel like they could easily do monsters. Hell, even a fucking icons one. Even if there's
Monsters,
no
icons.
icons at the event, that would still sell.
No, I asked a lot of people on our Twitter account, HHN365, about like if there was like even if they were going to do an original, take an original house concept and throw it into escape rooms, and people were just coming up with just great ideas. Like there's so many original concepts, icons, IPs if they wanted to go that route that can fit perfectly for this type of experience, and it doesn't even be as big and bombastic as the current ones are because it if it's a limited time it won't be but it just having this sort of thing in City Walk itself and being able to connect it to HHN is I think would just be a very smart move on Universal's part and probably an easy way for them to make a good chunk of money because I know every HHN fan or local or whatever is going to want to try this thing if they do have an HHN experience. And if they cost, somewhere around the price point they're putting the current ones. Oh, something fell. Anyways, if they cost something along the current price but the current ones, that's a lot of money for Universal.
Oh yeah, yeah. And to the HHN one specifically, before we go further, seeing how scary and intense they can make a family-friendly one, I have no doubts they can make an like legitimately scary escape room experience for HHN.
And it seems like they wouldn't even need actors for it.
No.
No, they could make
like
more. I mean, I feel like maybe maybe they try
They
to sneak
could.
one in or two for HHN because it would add to it, of course.
mhm.
Yeah.
But I don't
But
think
the
they
good thing
need.
is that it's probably not needed. If Jurassic World is doing all this, scary stuff without having any real person inside of it, which makes it an even gives it even a bigger incentive to do something like it because you don't even need to hire actors, for to be in the experience, the whole time it's running either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Where are we? We're heading into the control room next. Is that right, James? We were
What
next.
what do you mean by what's control room?
Like the power stuff.
This the hard one?
The big one that has 6 stations.
Yeah, the hard one.
Okay,
That one
yeah,
was hard.
yeah. So next you go into the control
I
room
couldn't find a goddamn
for
thing.
Jurassic World, and this is it had 6 stations. So I guess if we have 6 people, that's kind of perfect. Although I kind of liked us having to move around a bit. That made it fun.
Oh
To
yeah,
get
I felt like we were controlling a spaceship.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty large. It kind of nails that Jurassic World control room aesthetic perfectly. There's so much to look at on the screen. So much to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Is the control room the place where Claire usually is in the first one?
Yes,
Like,
like where she goes to what are their names? The like comedic relief
yeah,
people on the
yeah.
computers and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
So that means they have like the window that you can see Jurassic World.
There was no
Mm,
window.
no, no. So you don't have that. You
Lots
have
of screens.
Okay,
very large screens.
Lots of screens.
interesting.
Yeah.
And it was wild.
Hmm.
This one was hard.
But again, this one after you're looking, you're in the control room. Mainly the challenge, which was it was the most fun challenge, I think, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said there were
Mhm.
6 stations. Does
Mm.
that mean that it was harder to complete with 4 people, or
Yeah, yeah,
was
because
the amount of people didn't really
around. You had to utilize all 6 stations.
Yeah.
got it?
And you had to like move around, and then there was a big screen in front of the 6 stations and then a big screen to the left, and you had to use both of them. So you needed someone like yelling out something from one screen, someone trying to find it on a screen that had a lot of information,
Yeah.
like a
Ooh.
lot.
Mhm.
And like I don't think it's a spoiler, but it was the park, so like things were offline on the park and you were trying to bring them up.
That is such a cool way to put you in the movie. Like
Mhm.
this
Yeah,
is crazy.
it was fucking cool. This was so cool. I had no expectations going into this whole experience.
Well, after
And
this, I think there's one of the coolest scenes, though. I
mhm.
don't know if you agree with that. where you finally
Yeah.
go outside
Mm-hmm.
and they make you
You go
feel like
outside in an
you're
escape room.
outside. It was so you walk outside of the control room and basically you are in front of a paddock where the power is obviously off. They have like there's a breeze that's emulating that you're outside, so the trees in the paddock are moving. One, you can't tell if it's the breeze or if it's dinosaurs back there moving them, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also probably the toughest challenge, I'd say.
Yes. Yeah. I thought we weren't gonna get it.
No, it took us the longest. I think naturally it's going to take everyone the longest because it's going to take work to do, regardless. Even if you
Mm-hmm.
figure out right away, it's going to take you a bit to actually do it.
Yeah. And
But
this is
yeah,
one I don't
go
see them being able to add anything on or make this one harder because I think that you will need most of the time for this.
hmm
And that's okay.
Once you figure it out, it's a
Very
very
interesting.
straightforward task. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not much else to do. Basically, once you get through that, you go. What's the next one? I feel like I'm getting flipped.
Isn't it the car or not the car, but this not the subway.
The
The
monorail?
That's what I meant. I don't
Oh,
know.
the monorail station. Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, you get into like a monorail station, and what you're trying to do is basically call the monorail to you, so you can get picked up, get out of here safely. And
Mm-hmm.
this like uh, it goes heavy on the lights and the dinosaur sounds outside because basically you're under a paddock at this point. You know, dinosaurs are free roaming right outside. Um, the challenge was not too difficult as long as you don't mess something up like we did. Pay attention, listen,
We
and you'll
don't
be
listen good.
fine. But this room like wasn't very like it wasn't big. The room didn't have much theming going on. It was kind of all the sounds going on around you that really made this one and the story being told. At this point, they're really rushing urgency through the story. You know, like you gotta get out of here, kind of thing.
It's the depths of fear of escape room.
hmm Basically, but
So
basically, oh,
I
go ahead.
didn't ask you before on the previous route, but how well did they emulate outside? Like, what would you compare it to? Like, comparing to like an HHN house that had like an outside scene.
um, not why can't I think of the fucking name of the house? God damn. I
Mhm.
leave me alone. The water house from this year.
Dead man's beer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was wow, the brain fog is real right now. It wasn't like Dead Man's Pier. I
I'd,
feel like
I'd say specifically for outside, I'd compare it
yeah.
more to like Yeti.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good
Very cool.
I
Uh,
can't believe I couldn't think of Dead Man's
but maybe even just a little bit more than Yeti, because again, like they had like just the breeze and the way that the shrubbery was moving because of it, and I don't know. I feel like that added a bit, but
The sound design is
yeah,
really excited me
that is the most
because
important part across the entire experience.
holy
Kill
crap.
it.
Like I've said it on other podcasts, but I don't know if I've said it here. But I love sound design in houses and in HHN houses and the way it's incorporated to emulate certain emotions, and the fact that it's so important to this experience, especially experience that heavily has to do with fear and dinosaurs, seems right up my alley.
hmm I think you will like it for sure.
Very, very cool.
But basically, yeah, you complete this challenge, and you've called the monorail. You want to head to the monorail. Then you go out to the monorail station. This is kind of like the workers' monorail station, where the maintenance bay is in it. Um, and you're just waiting on your monorail. But of course, your monorail to bring you to safety. Something's going to happen first before you can get on it. Um, and this is again where they really use lights and the power's going out and shit's happening. And then I don't, just if you want to drop the big moment, where if you don't want to know the big moment, stop listening.
Oh, the thing that I made me almost throw up an X.
Yes.
um, so you're standing there and you're looking for something to do because it's an escape room.
Yeah. It makes you feel like you have to do something here, but never states you have to do something. So you're just
Yeah,
kind of
they
searching
don't
around like, what
talk.
do I do? There's just
You're
shit
just kind of
going on
waiting.
around us. There's like chaos.
Literally, and you're just like standing there and there's like a bulletin board. So like definitely looking at the bulletin board. Thank God I looked away at the right minute. Because the fucking bulletin board is a drop panel.
A big one.
And there's a big ass dinosaur eye
The
behind
dinosaur.
there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
I died.
that is lit up to like the seconds before you hear his footsteps coming, and then a big crash where he basically smashes through.
I'm not mad about it. It got me good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is insane. That's really cool.
And
This is
then
just chilling in City Walk.
perfectly
Dinosaurs.
timed, the monorail shows up, door opens, you hop in and go to safety.
Yeah.
And that's
That
Jurassic World.
that sounds unbelievable. It sounds amazing. It sounds like they knocked it out of the park. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Back to the Future guy, so I was more excited for the Back to the Future one, and I still am because
Same.
I really like the movies. But I mean, hearing all that makes me almost not quite because I love Back to the Future, but almost as excited for Jurassic World. Where before I'm not that big of a fan of the World movie, so I was kind of like, okay, I'm interested to see where they go with it. But this makes me absolutely want to buy a ticket and do this experience because it sounds great. And as a follow up question, would you say that it's especially you, Duff, after having done, I know you've done a lot of escape rooms and no price points and whatnot. How would you say how fair the price point is for this experience? Obviously accounting for the fact that it is a theme park.
Yeah, I mean, I think the situation and the experience you get is it's worth the money. And I'm not someone who's just going to sit here and say Universal is worth it all the time. I knock them for some of their prices all the time. This is worth the money.
Mm-hmm.
Like I might try to avoid paying 65 for it. Like
Yeah.
that could be a bit steep, but if you're going to get it like as an earlier time or if you have a discount, it's well worth it for sure.
Awesome. And I'm assuming this makes you guys even more excited for the Back to the Future one that I'm sure you guys are going to do at some point.
You have no idea.
Oh yeah.
I cannot wait. One thing we heard is it has more fog, so we're there.
There we go.
And I actually have seen all the Back to the Future movies.
Yeah,
So
also, it's harder, as you brought up
yeah.
earlier, Jess. Supposedly.
Oh, we're beating the score.
Oh, so here, actually, we have our score. So as we said
yes.
earlier, this can go up to 20. You can score a 20. That's a perfect score in Jurassic World. The current high score is 17, and we got a 16.
You were so close.
Yeah.
Well,
but
now
that
we're
is
gonna go
amazing.
back. We got to go back and
Yeah.
beat it.
But that's like cheating then, right? Because we already know what to
No. No.
do. Okay.
Give it a couple months.
Back to the Future is only up to 15, and the current high score, I believe they said, is 12.
Mm-hmm.
And he said
we could do that.
The average is like 4.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He said Back to the Future, there's things that can really stump you.
Now, I'm curious. I know, Duff, and now Jess, you're accustomed to how these particular escape rooms work and operate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see how the difficulty level, depending, it obviously varies from person to person, but how the difficulty level in Back to the Future affects the experience, if it makes it more exciting, if it makes it more frustrating. Like, I'm interested to see, whenever you do that, like how you'll feel about it having that level of difficulty.
Yeah. Well, I will say the one thing is that even, if you're worried about that hindering your experience, one, you can't fail. So you're going to get to go through the whole experience no matter what. Your score will be lower, but you'll get to experience it all. And two, the fact that they make it easier. So I feel like there's, I don't think it's ever to the point like we're in a normal escape room. You can literally just get stuck in a room and never get out. Like you're never going to get that frustrated because they won't let you. They will make it easier and easier and easier, and then eventually just bail you out if necessary. So I don't think it'll ever get to the point where you're so frustrated it's not a fun experience.
Yeah. And I will say they don't just tell you your score. We had to ask. So it's not like you're going to come out and they're going to go, "Oh, you got a 4, you idiot."
Yeah.
Like, so we had to ask. So if you don't want to know and you just want to experience it, you don't have to know.
There's a big screen and it says like F failed.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Your entire party's names are up there and it's like, you suck.
And we're going to keep these up there for the rest of the day, just so everyone knows.
The shame
First
board.
and last name, pictures that we took of you secretly. Like,
If only.
Yeah.
If
I'm
only.
excited. Jonathan, you got to do the Back to the Future one with us.
I would love to do that. That's one I really want to do. I hopefully, get to do the Jurassic World one at some point too.
I'm sure it
but
would be hard to convince us to do it. I'm just saying.
Oh, as long as it's a matinee and I don't have to pay, 50, whatever.
Yeah.
So here's a fun question. I kind of brought it up before really quickly, but if you guys were to pick one HHN anything, it could be an IP that comes to the event. It could be an original. It could be an icon, location, famous location, whatever. What would you pick? Like if you had one choice to make it like a limited time escape room.
I feel like I should have an answer because I just enjoyed your tweet about it. And I read answers.
I haven't. It's the easy way out, but it's the one I want. I want a caretaker one where you're going through the mansion, but you got to do like some gross shit, like dig through like a body, or like you know what I mean, like the different fucked up things. You walk in the room and like there's mannequins dancing with the bodies and shit like that. Like that's what I want, and you can even throw like an actor in there as a jump scare at the finale, Cindy or the caretaker. I don't care, or just take the icon's house.
Right in the lantern, yeah.
Yeah. And just each room is a different, challenge, and then you get out in the throne room.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
I like it.
But I can just imagine now, like if you have to like go through bodies and stuff, like comparing the size of one disclaimer sheet from like Jurassic World to the size of the disclaimer sheet from the HHN one, and it's just being like twice as big.
So I'm going to say two of them because I can't decide. One of them because it lends itself super well to it based off like the challenges part. Two of the Ancients basically make it like Indiana Jones. Boom. Done. Simple. There's already challenges built into that. Easy. The other one, because I want to see it and I think it could be scary, and because kind of the story is people trying to get through it, is Graveyard Games. You could basically be Sid and Nancy trying to escape.
Oh my god!
And they could do so many Pepper's ghost effects, and even like the silly effect of the mother on the going forward, sort of on like the wire or whatever. Like you could even do that in that type of experience. Like there are a lot of effects you can pull straight from Graveyard Games to make it work.
Yeah, and I think it's a house that is so heavily based on lighting and sound design. Perfect, easy. Perfect fit for
I know you guys were talking about the room where it was incredibly dark already for, Jurassic World. Just do the Graveyard Games room, but you also have to do something in it, Like not as dark as Graveyard Games, but something similar to that, and it's something also that probably would be pretty cheap, but still because you don't really have to have that much in the completely dark room, but but it also provides an element of fear and scares, and it will work perfectly for the property.
Definitely.
No, Graveyard Games is one of the answers I saw a lot, actually. Like, I think I saw one of the most for Graveyard Games. So a lot of people are on board with your idea.
Yeah, I think trying to escape like a graveyard is such an easy concept for something like that.
Absolutely. I don't know what I would pick because I didn't do the experience yet. I could say what I want, and I think I don't know if you'd agree with me, but I've been talking about it a lot, but it actually just makes a lot of sense, especially how you describe Jurassic World. I think Depths of Fear could kind of work. I know, but like say with, I think it could.
I mean, the whole point of the house is you're trying to escape.
Exactly. So just do that, and I don't know, and you can have like screens of the water of people outside, hopefully done better. But you could have that, and really make it seem like these creatures are trying to come at you, or you're trying to escape from them. I think it could work great, and also it's to be a little weirder, but maybe something like Slaughter Cinema, where every room is a different room, a different movie, different
Oh.
film, and you're trying to like escape the all the movies, in every room you're trying to escape, and you got the person that's following you is like not the usher, but maybe the usher of like not the either the icon of the usher or just the character that runs the theater, and you're trying, and they're sort of like leading you through these movies, and you become the protagonist of each film, which could be really cool. I think that was something somebody also said on Twitter.
Mm.
So that's another good idea.
And there's one that's an easy home run that makes a ton of sense if you're Universal, and that's the Universal Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was gonna say Hellblock Horror.
Oh,
No, someone joked about that on Twitter, and I couldn't respond because absolutely not.
Okay, but like if you think about it, the chaos going out around you while you're like in a cell trying to get out or whatever,
no,
like
I don't want to hear your sense here. No,
oh,
no, no,
leave
no,
me
no.
alone. Okay, prison.
I got
It could just be prison.
I got more sense. Ready? Here's my thoughts, trying to rationalize why Hellblock should not come as an escape room.
Oh
Is
god.
that
It's not going to.
I know it's not. I know it's not. But hear me out. Were the sets in Hellblock great?
No, the H is for Hellblock.
Exactly. No, I guess you're right. If it did have the H in the house, what if the goal was so the H is already cut out, like there's a big H cut out. What if you had to find the H and walk through it, and then you've
Oh, it's
escaped?
very Legends of the Hidden Temple. It's the monkey statue or whatever, or the coin. I can't fucking remember. I love that. So it's really just what Duff said with Tomb of the Ancients.
But way better because it has an H.
But there's an H.
All right, everyone. We'll see you in the streets.
Oh goodness.
Horrible, horrible.
Escape
Hellblock.
rooms. Come on.
Disgusting.
Gotta have one bullshit answer.
Fair. All right, Jesse. Any last comments? Any way to sway people that they have to do this experience or not do this experience?
I talked shit about Jurassic Park for 10 hours yesterday.
Yeah,
And
yeah, you did.
Duff and Jonathan can agree to that. They heard. I walked out of there obsessed. Not with Jurassic Park, but with that escape room. So you should go do it. And I'm honest. I'm always going to tell it like it is.
Also, everyone at Weedle Jess and tell her to watch Jurassic World.
No, I won't. You can try.
Please do.
You just need to watch the first one. That's the only one that really matters. Like, just watch the first one.
Jonathan, you'll learn that I don't watch things.
It's Jurassic Park.
I don't watch things.
There's dinosaurs.
Did you not hear me an hour ago when I said I wasn't a dinosaur kid?
Yeah, but
I was a Beetlejuice kid. There's
some practice.
That was me.
There's like 3 sex gods in the film. Come on.
I've seen the parts of that. Oh wait, I don't know why this reminded me of that because he is not one. There is no crispy rat jump scare in the experience.
No, there's not.
So if you're worried about seeing him, I was. His voice ain't even there. He nowhere. He's busy doing the
I
Guardians.
gave him no money.
No, but also nobody from the film is in there. It's a girl that she's there, Riley.
He's busy perfecting his Italian accent.
But yeah, it was really good. Go check it out. And if you don't like dinosaurs, go to the Back to the Future one and let me know how it is. Actually, don't, because I'm going to do it.
Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it soon.
After the cruise.
I don't want it spoiled.
No, please don't spoil it.
Yeah, so Universal's great movie Escape. The whole experience was fun. We enjoyed Jurassic World. The drinks were cool. Nice place to chill. A little pricey, but worth it.
It seems like something that anyone listening to this podcast in particular, that's all about HHN, it seems like something that they would want to do, liking the scary stuff and the stuff that's a little more horror.
Yeah, speaking specifically on Jurassic World, it can definitely give you some of that fix, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of all we got for today. So, again, you can follow us on social media. We're going to go yell at Beetlejuice, at Beetlejuice, to watch Jurassic Park. But also follow HHN365 at HHN365 on Twitter and Instagram, and at HHN365pod on TikTok. Check out our merch collection at hhn365.bigcartel.com. And if you want to join us on the show, or tell Jess to watch Jurassic Park,
Oh my God.
call us at 407-906-4134. And until next time, when you tell Jess to watch Jurassic Park on Twitter,
Oh my
Instagram,
God.
voicemails, we'll see you in the streets.
Can I kill you, Duff?